The Tower 60 interlocker north of Fort Worth, Texas is a busy rail crossing where the BNSF Fort Worth subdivision and Union Pacific's Duncan and Chocolate subdivisions cross over the Fort Worth and Western Main Line that runs from Hodge Yard in Fort Worth to Crescent, Texas. Tower 60 sees about 100 trains a day, with 48 of them being Textrail commuter trains and the other 55 to 60 being Amtrak, BNSF, Union Pacific, Fort Worth and Western, and Kansas City Southern trains. On weekends, the tourist railroad in the area, known as the Grapevine Vintage Railroad, runs 2 trains a day through Tower 60 on their trips from Grapevine to the stockyards and back. If you decide to pay a visit to the 23rd Street and Decatur Avenue railroad crossings of Tower 60, you will certainly not be disappointed by the amount of railroad traffic. Our first train of the day would be a southbound manifest advancing out of the siding north of the interlocker with 2 GE units up front and 2 Jeeps behind, with one of them wearing the famous blue bonnet paint scheme. Up next would be a Textrail train heading eastbound toward DFW Airport. After waiting for the eastbound to pass in the north side siding, Textrail 227 continues its journey to T&P Station in Fort Worth. Not even 5 minutes later, BNSF 8385 was leading a northbound manifest through the crossing. As soon as the previous train cleared out, a diverging clear signal indication appeared on the signals. A northbound BNSF rock train with 2 -9s on the point made its way through, heading north on the UP Chocolate Sub. After about 20 minutes, UP's Chico local with SC70M 4558 on point and SC40N number 1754 rolled through. Shortly after, BNSF 4662 and Ferromex 4649 were leading a southbound manifest. The first two cars on this train consist of tanks on flatbed carts, which is very interesting to see. Next up, an eastbound Texas Rail train making its way out of the Fort Worth area passes through Decatur Avenue, preparing to meet a westbound Texas Rail train at the siding. Westbound that was setting in the siding now got a clear signal to advance onto Fort Worth. After about a little bit over 30 minutes, a southbound BNSF intermodal with BNSF 3812 on point rolled by my camera. Next up, a manifest reversing out of Peach Yard rolled through Tower 60. Less than 5 minutes later, Amtrak's southbound Heartland Flyer was nearing its destination in Fort Worth from Oklahoma City. A few minutes later, the manifest that reversed out of Peach Yard made its way southward. We returned to Tower 60 later in the day to find Fort Worth Western's Crescent turn heading toward the interlocker. Leading our train today are Fort Worth and Western's 4 new SG40-2 locomotives that they received back in January of 2019. The lead unit, number 2031, sports a solid K5LA horn. After receiving a clear signal, Fort Worth and Western 2031 leads the train across the BNSF and Union Pacific tracks. next will be the Grapevine Vintage Railroad train heading back to Grapevine, Texas with GVRX 2199, also known as Vinny, a GP7U built in 1953, leading the way. As I was heading back to the BNSF and Union Pacific crossings of Tower 60, a Union Pacific southbound manifest led by 8064 rolled by. As the UP was moving through, a southbound manifest on the BNSF with two C-44-9Ws on point made its way through. About 20 minutes later, Amtrak 822, the northbound Heartland Flyer heading back north to Oklahoma City with AMTK 177 on the point and AMTK 9222 on the rear, went by. Up next would be an eastbound Texrail train making its way out of the Fort Worth area and heading towards the northeast. Next up, a westbound Texrail that was waiting on the eastbound Texrail was making its way through. Next up, the Grapevine Vintage Railroad train was reversing onto the UP track that leads to the PH Yard and then would head northeast on the UP Choctaw Sub. while later, a KCS train on the Fort Worth and Western tracks with trackage rights was reversing. Next up, a southbound BNSF coal train with the ES44AC on point, a City Rail Jevo trailing second, and two Ferromex SC78 CPUs rolled by. Our final train of the day will be the Kansas City Southern Sand train that we saw earlier heading northeast on the Fort Worth and Western. This train will turn onto the BNSF Fort Worth sub and head north to Crum, Texas to return back to KCS track. That will wrap up our day at Tower 60. If you enjoyed the video, please like the video and please subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, thank you for watching.